and welcome to a new video. And yes, this is Coke, but it's not the sort of Coke that the NCB is going to go after me for, though you never know. So I'm just gonna keep this down and talk to you about books which are legal in the country right now. Right now being the key operative word here. So it is the festive season and I have ended up buying these two pile of books which come up to about 40 books. And let's not judge, alright? This is a no judgment zone here. Essentially what happens is that during the festive season right now, so first of all, happy like everything to you. Navratri, Durga Puja, Diwali's coming up, just everything in advance, like whatever you're celebrating. Happy that to you. But yeah, basically there are a lot of sales that come up online as well as offline, and the Indian in me, just like as soon as I see discounts, I just go like, yes, I need to buy it. And then I end up buying quite a lot, as you can see. So I'm here to talk to you about the books that I bought during this period of time. But yeah, the books that I bought, I think I got like quite a good discount, and I am here to talk to you about it. So yes, I think the sales are pretty much over and I don't know if the discounts are there anymore. However, you can probably put these books into your wish list or whatever, because what I've noticed is that if they go on sale in one sale, then goes on sale in the next sale as well. That's just the thing that I have seen. So yeah, sorry about that. I should have probably made this like beforehand, but the average that I have spent is quite decent. I think the books that were actually on sale, I think the average was about like 180 rupees, versus there were books that I bought just generally as well, and then that average comes up to about 220 rupees. So I think that's not too terrible, I would say. Just don't do the math just generally to see how much I've actually spent on books, because that's just, let's not go there, okay? I don't want to know. I rather live in denial. But what I'm going to do is that I am going to talk to you about the books that I bought, and I am going to do it in the order of like the money that I spent. So I do have to say though that this chart over here is going to tell you that I not only bought books from like online retailers such as Amazon and Flipkart, but I also bought books from indie bookstores which did have some discounts, some didn't. Some were new bookstores that opened up in my city that I was really excited about and I went to. Some I bought from my friends, some books I got from my publishers. So I'm just gonna go in that order. So it'll start from like 0, and I think the most amount of money that I've spent is 699. So yeah, so from 0 to 699, you're just gonna see the wide variety of books that I bought. And I do have to say that the books towards the end are like amazing. So like, do stick on till the end. That would be amazing. Yeah, so that's what we're gonna do. Let's just begin for now. Alright, the first book that I want to talk to you about is this one, which is How Come No One Told Me That by Prakash Iyer. And I do have to say that I'm a little biased with this one because I know Prakash uncle. He is one of my closest friends' fathers, but he's also amazing. He is a really cool person who's had like an amazing career in Pepsi and in just like a lot of like huge organizations, and he has been an author for quite a while. He's written one of my favorite self-help books, and I'm not a self-help book person, which is called Habit of Winning, which is his first ever book. I remember I gave it to a lot of people and a lot of people really liked it, and this is his latest book, which is called How Come No One Told Me That: Life Lessons, Practical Advice and Timeless Wisdom for Success. And this was sent to me by the publisher. So like Penguin sent this to me, so thank you, Penguin. And I'm hoping that maybe I do something with Prakash uncle. I don't know, maybe I should. If that's something that will interest you, do let me know. He is super cool and amazing, and I would definitely tell you to check this book out. Another book that Penguin sent to me is this one called Pony by R.J. Palacio, and this is another book that I am really looking forward to reading, because if R.J. Palacio seems like a name that you've heard before, it's because it is the person who wrote Wonder. It is a middle grade book and also became like an amazing movie, which I love so much. I feel like I need to go watch that movie immediately. Whenever I talk about it, I'm just like, I need to watch the movie. It's so good. But yeah, this one is his latest book, and it is basically about this young boy. Again, this is middle grade. It's about a young boy whose father is taken away from him by some random strangers, and his only friend is a ghost. And then there's a pony that comes to him, and he decides then that he's going to go on this journey to try to find his father. And I don't know much more about that, like after that what happens, but I mean, just the vibes, and I just trust RJ Palacio to do an amazing job. I don't know if I'm saying their name correctly, but I mean, I know it's going to be really nice and really cute and really like heartwarming, and that's exactly what I need in life. So yeah, this is the second book. Another book that I received from Yogi Books, which is an Indian indie publisher, is this one, which is called 5 Novellas About Women by Indira Goswami, who is a really famous Assamese writer. And this book is translated from Assamese. And I've heard really good things about this writer, and my friends who have read this book have really enjoyed it as well. So I'm really looking forward to reading it. Maybe I can do this in chunks, like, you know, just read one novella randomly at a time. But let's see. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. And translated literature, like, duh. The last book that I got from a publisher, I swear to God, it was the last book that I got from a publisher, and I don't think I have been this excited ever to get a book from a publisher, because it is this one, which is Dave Grohl's memoir, The Storyteller. And I love Dave Grohl, so if you don't know who he is, first of all, get off, like, out of that rock, and get into the world. But he is the frontrunner of the Foo Fighters, which is a huge band, and he was also the lead drummer for Nirvana before Kurt Cobain passed. Like, he was part of the band and then he formed the Foo Fighters. Anyway, he is just a really cool individual. I've really liked him through the years, and I'm just really excited to like know about his story. I just read the introduction and it already just sounds so amazing. Like, I just it just gives me all the Dave Grohlness in the world, which is just like warm, wonderful human being vibes. I don't know if you get that, but he's also just like lived rock and roll, you know. So yeah, I'm just really excited to reading this one. It also has like some really cool like photographs and like postcards and like things that he's written and scribbled. I'm just gonna put like a b-roll of it here. But yeah, it just seems really cool, and I just cannot wait to read this one. So yeah, I'm so excited. Look at this. Ah. And then the next book that I got for free is this one. It is The Enchantress of Florence by Salman Rushdie. This is a book that I got because someone in my building was just giving away like their old books, and it's in some like really good condition. So yeah, I just took it basically. But this one is a book that I've been wanting to read. I know that it's set like in really old times, so like during like Akbar's time and all of that sort of stuff, but it's supposed to be really good, and it's Salman Rushdie, so I'm very intrigued. But that's all I know, and I got for free. So the last book that I got for free is this one, which is How We Fight for Our Lives by Said Jones. Whoa, my like, it matches. Like, what I mean to say is that my nails match the book cover. Anyway, so I got this from Sonali, who was unhauling some of her books. This I think she got as like an arc, so she gave it to me for free because she got it for free, and like, yeah. But yeah, this is basically a memoir of Said Jones, who is a black queer poet, and it is basically about him being black and queer in the US, if I'm not mistaken. And yeah, I've heard really good things about it, and I just can't wait to dig in. The next two books are Kindle books that I got for 29 rupees. I know, it's ridiculous. The first one is Manu Pillar's latest book, which is called False Allies and something. I don't know what exactly this book is about. But I do know it's something to do with the Indian history, and something to do with a particular king. I have no idea, but I do know that Manupilla writes really well, and it was for 29 rupees, so I bought it. The next book that was also for 29 rupees that I've honestly been looking out for a really long time is, my laptop's here, so like, yeah, it's called, what is it called? Killers of the Flower Moon. And this is a book that is based on, like, which is a true story, and it is basically about how there was this one time in the 1920s where one of the richest communities of Native Americans, and just generally they were the richest in America at that point of time, and how they were being murdered systematically. And essentially what happens is that these people are trying to like uncover what exactly happens. And it was like J. Edgar Hoover who became like the first director of the FBI. It was his first like homicide case or whatever, and there was a lot that went into it with like undercover agents and undercover Native American agents and all of that sort of stuff. And I've heard that this book kind of like reads like a thriller itself, but it's just like a terrible time that obviously took place during that time. And I'm just like really interested to read more about it, and now that I've got for 29 rupees, well. The next Kindle book that I got for 99 rupees is the Divided Island Stories from the Sri Lankan War. My laptop is down here, which is why I'm looking down. And this is a book that I found because I thought I was really interested in the whole idea of the Sri Lankan War. It happened for over 30 years between the Tamil and the Sinhalese. I visited Sri Lanka and I've got to know about this story, but I wanted to know more about it. Also, a few friends of mine have been reading A Passage North, which is a book which is shortlisted for the Booker Prize, and that talks about this as well. So yeah, I'm gonna read it this month, so I just wanted like a little bit of a non-fiction to read, maybe post that to understand this maybe a little more. So yeah, I'm hoping that this is a good book about it. It has some decent reviews, so let's see. The next book that I got for 119 rupees is this one, which is Punching the Air by E.B. Zaboy and Yusuf Salam. And this is a book again that I've heard a lot about. Yusuf Salam was one of the Central Park Five or the Exonerated Five. I think there's a Netflix series about this as well, which I haven't watched because I'm just like, I know that I'm going to get too emotional. But yeah, E.B. Zaboy is an amazing poet as well, and they have come together to write this middle grade young adult book about a young boy who is incarcerated for a crime that he did not commit, and it is told in like poems and in verse as well as like just general prose, and I've heard like just absolutely stunning things about this one, so 119 rupees, I picked it up. The next is a book that I bought from my friend Sonali over at Melodramatic Bookworm. I'm sure you have heard of her. She was unhauling a few books, and this is one of them, which is I Am Pilgrim, which is a thriller, which is set in like Saudi Arabia and Syria and like the Middle East, I think. And I do not think she likes it because it has like these little like tags, and one of them is, look at this a-hole. All of this misogyny, men also interested in him, but he has problems with women. I don't know. Oh my lord, kitna self-praise bhai. So like, I don't know. I'd heard a lot about it, and I kind of forgot that she did not like this book. So I bought it for 150 rupees. But let's see. Maybe I'll have similar thoughts as hers, or maybe I'll just like remember that there's misogyny and just go with it, because it has still some pretty good ratings. So let's see. Sorry, that one was for 125 rupees, and this is for 128 rupees, and that is The Very Generations by Abdullah Hussain. And this is a book translated from Urdu to English, and this I've heard a lot about because it covers the partition but also a lot of other topics. So it covers the First World War, the partition, post-partition, the freedom struggle, all of that sort of stuff, and it's all told through the lens, if I'm not mistaken, through one person, and one Muslim person, and just their whole journey. So I'm really intrigued by it. I've heard like really good things about it, but I don't know, I just had been putting it off for a long time. So yeah, also I've had like a really good experience with most of the Harper Perennial books that I've read. So Next one is another translated book, and this one is called Blood by Sunil Gangopadhyay. And this is a book that I've heard a lot about. Essentially, it's like a thriller romance of sorts, if I'm not mistaken. Essentially, what happens is that there is an Englishman who is killed by an Indian, and then their children fall in love, I think. And I don't know much more than that. I don't want to know much more than that, but I know that Sunil Gangopadhyay is an extremely like hailed writer. He has won the Sahitya Academy Award and just like all of that sort of stuff. So yeah, I'm really excited to read this one, and I think I got it for 146 rupees. So the next book is a non-fiction that I have been keeping my eye out for a really long period of time, and it is this one called Range by David Epstein. Not the Epstein we do not like and who is now dead, but like a good one. This is basically about how generalists triumph in a specialized world. I have heard some really good things about this one. It has gotten really nice things said by Susan Cain, who is the author of Quiet, James Clear, the author of Atomic Habits, and just a bunch of other stuff. And yeah, I am really intrigued to see what he has to say about this topic. The next one is this short book of short stories called Taxiwalla and Other Stories. I've heard some of my friends say some really good things about this one, so I bought it because it was cheap-ish. And this one is basically about various people on the outside, talking about people who are slightly more privileged. So like a taxiwala is giving you their perspective of like a meme sub or something like that. I'm not too sure, but I've heard really good things about this one, and I honestly don't want to know too much because it's anyway this short. So like and then within the short it's like short stories, so like, you know, so yeah, but this one. Then I have gone and bought a book 2 without having book 1. But I think it is a series that I want to read, and that is this one, which is The Silvered Serpents. The first book is The Gilded Wolves, not Woods. Gilded Wolves by Roshni Chokshi. Roshni Chokshi. That is the Indian way of saying it because she's Indian, Filipino, American. So, or British, I don't know. But yeah, everyone was like Roshni Chokshi, and it's Roshni Choksi. Okay. But anyway, this is the second book of a series, and like it follows like heists and like something like that, and I've heard like that it is really nice. It is young adult, but I've heard that it's written in a really like sweet, like fast-paced sort of way. So I think that this is going to be one of my nice time pass reads that I pick up once in a while. But before that I do have to read like Six of Crows and what is the second book after that? I forget, but yeah, Crooked Kingdom. Those are 2 that I read before I pick this one up. But it was coming for really cheap, like 170 rupees or something like that. So I was like, fuck it, I bought it because I planned to read it. And the next one that I got is this one, which is a non-fiction called Lady Doctors. And this follows 6 doctors from I think like the 1800s to like the early 1900s, and how they defied like India and like us, our society, and became doctors, and how they became doctors, who they were, what they did, and I just think that that is so interesting. A friend of mine, Kathy, has read this book, and she has really said really good things about this one. So I saw that it was a discount, and I bought it immediately, and I am really interested to see what it has to say. The next one is a hardcover that I sort of bought on a whim because it just kind of sounded good. And it is this one, which is What Would Buddhica Do? I don't know how Buddhica is, but yeah, it's basically like a collection of women, of remarkable women through history, and then gives you like advice based on like what they've done. So for example, Sappho and backing yourself, or like, I don't know, let's see, Megan Lloyd George and stepping out of your parents' shadows, or I don't know, there's even like this Fulan Devi and not being a lady, which is awesome. So let's see what it has to say. I just thought that like the concept was really cool, and like I just really love this cover as well. So yeah, I think it's a book that I'm gonna like just randomly like read once in a while and see what it has to say. But yeah, this one. The next book is a book that I bought from Kitab Khana, and if you know, I have visited them a few times. I've done like a vlog where I take you through this beautiful bookstore that unfortunately caught fire like a year ago, and it has just come up. But because of that fire, there were a few books that were slightly like injured and some of those books they have permission to sell at 50%. So this is one of them. It is called Followers. It's a book that I've sort of had my eye out for a while. It's basically set like, it's sort of like dystopia. It's set in like to 2050, where there's this young girl whose mother has been selected to live her life on camera, so sort of like a social media sort of thing where they just live stream their entire life, I think. But she's found out something about her past and about her birth that is like whatever, so it's like running against time to try to figure something out. I don't quite know, but I've heard like good things about it and it just kind of intrigued me. So yeah, I got this one. And the other one that I bought, which I thought was very interesting to buy, because it is a matchstick copy. Like Fourth Estate, which is a publisher, has this thing called the Matchstick Collection. You can see some of mine like back here. But yeah, like this it was funny because like matchstick, it got saved from a fire, you know. Anyway, but this one is called Bad Blood by Lorna Sage, and this is like, it's pretty cool, right? And this is basically her memoir. I think she grew up in the 1940s in Wales, and she had like a sort of eccentric family from what I can see, and I don't really want to know more about it other than that, and that's it. That's all I want to say. So those are all the books that were under 200, and now this goes back. Oh Jesus, don't fall. And then this comes here. So this is like gonna be from 200 to 699. It's a wide range of books here. And let's get into that selection now. The next book I got is a book that, like, honestly, I was like, Amazon is listening to me, because I was talking to someone and I was like, how come we don't have like Indian serial killers? I want to know more about Indian serial killers. And then this book was recommended to me, and it's called The Deadly Dozen, which is about 12 of India's most notorious serial killers. And I was just like, Jesus, yes, I want this immediately, because I just want to know. So I don't know if this book is good or bad or yeah, but I just want to know about these serial killers, you guys. I want to know about Indian serial killers. So that's all. The next book is a book that I'm going to be reading for one of my upcoming videos, so you get a little bit of a sneak peek into it, though it'll be fun if you could guess what exactly that video is. So I don't know if you will. Let us see. It is this one, which is called Sin is the Puppy That Follows You Home, by Balaraba Ramal Yakubu, and it is translated from Hausa, which is like an African language, and it is set in Nigeria in the 1980s, and it is supposedly an Islamic soap opera with a polyamorous household, virtuous women, scheming harlots, and black magic. It is the first full-length novel ever to be translated from Hausa to English, and it is quite unlike anything you've ever heard before. So this is a book that like I had seen somewhere before, and then I had the idea for this like video that I'm going to be doing, and I just had to have it. So I got it, not too much of a discount, but yeah, it was still cheap enough. Next is another book that I bought from Sonali, and this is The Women Who Forgot to Invent Facebook and Other Stories by Nisha Susan. This is a collection of short stories by Nisha Susan, who is an Indian author, and I've heard mixed things about this one, but it is a book that I've been wanting to read since I've heard of it, like since it released. So I just bought it off her. And that's all I have to say about it. The next book I have had my eye on for a long period of time. One, because of its beautiful cover. Two, because it was also like a Reese Witherspoon what's it called, book club pick, and it is this one, which is called His Only Wife by Peace Ardso. I'm not gonna even try. Anyway, this is a book set in Ghana, if I'm not mistaken, and it says a crazy rich Asians for West Africa with a healthy splash of feminism. And basically, I have heard really, really good things about it. It's about a girl who gets married into a wealthy household, and then there's a lot of other things that happen. I'm not too sure, but it's basically her trying to figure out her life post that. And it's supposed to be witty, smart, and a moving comedy of manners about the search for independence and the rules that you might have to break along the way. So it sounds really good. I've heard really, really good things about this one. It is also stunning. So yeah, this one. The next book is a book that I have had my eye out on for a while now, and it was like I kept it on like my wish list for like, tell me when the price goes down, because I will snatch it up immediately. And that is this one, which is called Build Your House Around My Body. And this is a book set in Vietnam by a Vietnamese American author, or just a Vietnamese author, I'm not too sure. However, it's basically about two women who go missing, but like decades apart. So there is one very, it says in 1986, the teenage daughter of a wealthy Vietnamese family gets lost in an abandoned rubber plantation and is forever changed. In 25 years later, a young, unhappy Vietnamese American woman vanishes from her new home in Saigon without a trace. It soon becomes clear that the fates of these two women are inescapably linked, bound together by past generations, by ghosts and ancestors, and the history of possessed bodies and possessed lands. It just sounds absolutely amazing. This cover is stunning. I just want to consume this immediately. Next is a book that I again have put into my most anticipated reads of 2021, and it just kind of slipped from my memory. Also, it didn't. I've been wanting to read it for a while, but there's just been like too many books, too less of a time. But this was on discount, so I just like picked it up immediately. And it is this one, which is called The Sickle by Anita Agnihotri, yes, and it is translated by the amazing Anurva Sinha. And this is a book which I'm just gonna tell you, it is just a lot of things, but it tells you the lives of farmers, migrant laborers, and activists in the Marathwada and Western Maharashtra. With shocking clarity, Agnihotri illuminates the series of intersecting and overlapping crises of female feticide, sexual assault, the violence of caste, feudal labor relations, farmer suicide, and climate change. And it's just a lot of stuff. What I think is really interesting is that she's written about Maharashtra, but in Bengali, which is just really interesting. And just all of these topics that she's talking about are just like very true to like India today and just the things that are happening. So yeah, I just thought that this was a book that definitely needed to be read, and I perhaps need to read it before 2021 is over. The next one is a book that I saw, and then someone told me that it's a really good thriller written by an Indian revolving females, and I was like, yes, I will pick it up, and I don't want to know anything else about it because I feel like maybe I will get spoiled, and I don't want to be spoiled. And that is this one, which is called Dirty Women by Madhumita Bhattacharya. And I just think that, first of all, cover gorgeous, and also like I don't want to know anything else. So like, if you know anything about this book, maybe, and if you want to know anything about this book, just Google it. I will like, yeah, just Google it. I don't want to know anything. I just want to get into it and then like understand what it's about, because I don't want to be spoiled for anything. Please, thank you very much. The next is another book that I got from Kitab Khana as one of its 50% off situations. It's a book that I've been wanting to read for a long period of time. It was really just too expensive. And it is this one, which is called Deacon King Kong by James McBride. And this is a book that was selected for like Oprah's book club. So you know that she has great taste and it'll be a good book. But essentially it's about this deacon who's sort of like a minister who in 1969 randomly decides to shoot like a drug dealer, and just like the repercussions of what happens in, I think, Brooklyn, if I'm not mistaken, in a suburban Brooklyn, what happens to like the community post that. And I just heard really, really good things about this one. So yeah, this one. Also, like, again, what is up with like stunning book covers, y'all? The next book is a book that I've heard a lot of people say wonderful things about. This one is set in Australia and it is called The Yield by Tara June Winch. And this is especially a booktuber called Sean the Book Maniac has absolutely loved this book. So I am really intrigued by it. It is basically about this girl who comes to her grandmother or one of I think her grandfather's funeral, and she discovers that the area that they are from is going to be sold to like a mining factory or something like that, and it's basically about her journey of grief but also of like how she's trying to save like the land that she's from, and something like that. I'm not too sure. I honestly don't want to know too much more, but I've heard that it's absolutely beautiful writing, absolutely stunning from what I have heard, and yeah, I just cannot wait to read it. I got this as a 20% off because Kitab Khana gives you 20% off of all the books that you buy. So yeah, that was one. Next, in terms of just, I don't know, beautiful covers, is this one. I bought like this old copy of the Lord of the Flies by William Golding. I think this used to be like a library book of someone, the Delhi Tamil Sangam Library. Sorry about that, Delhi Tamil Sangam Library, but your book is now sold. And it belongs to me. But I just love this old school like leather like thing. That's like, this is sort of gone away, but I love this book in particular. Like I just love the this classic, which is Lord of the Flies, and I just saw this in like someone selling this on Instagram called Basement Bookstore. Not the Basement Bookstore that a lot of people might know, but I will link them down below. They sell a lot of like pre-loved books. I was going to say self-loved books. What does that mean? I don't know. Pre-loved books. And yeah, just hello, will you look at that? It's just amazing. So yeah, so I got this one for, I think I got this for like 350 rupees. The next book is also another translation, and it is a book that I just saw, and I saw the back of and heard what it was about, and I was like, yup, I need this in my life. And it is this one called Luster by Abdus Samad, and this is, let me just read what the back says. It's translated from Urdu by Saeed Anwar Ali, and it says, a rustic journey to glitter and back, a fascinating insight into a socio-political journey. Essentially what happens is that, I'm gonna just tell you, instead of just reading it out, that there's a crime that has been committed and 7 girls have been brutally gang raped by a group of upper caste men. As news quickly spreads, the village becomes a national spotlight for journalists, policemen, and ministers filtering in, each trying to get to the bottom of the truth and find the culprits. Long oppressed, the girls from the minority community refuse to utter the names of the men, feigning ignorance and burdened by shame. They grapple with the notions of honor and purity. Just like Jesus, this sounds so amazing. Holy shit, why did I not hear of this before? I need to read this ASAP, as much as like all the other books that I've said, but like, yeah, doesn't it just sounds great. Next is a collection of essays by Lucy Ellman, who wrote that big fat book called Duck's Newburyport. Remember that one? This is a short version. She has just like essays of like what she's thought about various things, and I've heard that they are really fun, insightful, biting, and yeah, I'm just really excited to read this one. The next 2 books I bought from a newly opened bookstore in India and in Bombay. It just opened up in a new mall that's opened up, and it has just the most fantastic collection of books. So I'm just going to talk to you very quickly about the 2 that I bought. There was a third one which I will talk to you about later because that's the most expensive one, which I bought for $6.99. Anyway, the first one is this one called Ghana Must Go, and this is a book that I'd sort of heard of but not really. But this one basically follows a Ghanaian family living in the United States, and I don't want to read too much about what the blurb says, but I know it says that it is a story of family loss, misunderstanding, and love spanning generations and continents, characters you long to reach out and hold, and that's just all I need to know. Also Vivek, who is my friend who was with me, said that it is brilliant and I must read it. So yeah, also if you are at the bookshop, you should definitely check out the head curator, Virat. He is amazing. He used to be the curator for Wayward and Wise, which is another amazing bookstore, but now he is working for this one, which is White Crow, and he gives great recommendations and has an amazing selection. So the next one, honestly, I was just like, I never heard of this book, but I saw it and I was like, what is that one about? And it is this one, which is called My Cat Yugoslavia, and it is set in Yugoslavia in the 1980s. I'm just gonna read the back for you. It says, in 1980s Yugoslavia, a young girl named Amin is married off to a man she hardly knows, but soon her country is torn apart by war and she is forced to flee with her family. Decades later, Amin's son Bekim has grown up a social outcast in a country suspicious of foreigners. Aside from casual hookups, his only companion is a pet boa constrictor, which is a snake. Until one night in a gay bar, Bekim meets a talking cat. Okay, it is this witty, charming, manipulative creature that starts him on a journey back to Kosovo to confront his demons and make sense of the remarkable, cruel history of his family. And soon he learns that love can be found in the most unexpected of places. What the fuck is this book? I read the back and I was like, literally that reaction, and then I was like, I need this immediately. And I got it for $3.99. So like, yeah, I was just like, oh, what? So yeah, it's just like, yeah, I still don't know, but it just sounds amazing, right? So another book that I read the back of and immediately I was like, yes, I need this in my life, because like I just like hardcore related to it, was this one, which is Everything You Ever Wanted by Louisa Soma. And this is just like, okay, let me read the back to you. If you are a marketing person, just like, yeah, you wake up, you go to work, you have strategy meetings about how to use hashtags. After work, you get so blackout drunk you can hardly remember the circumstance that led you to waking up next to your colleague. That did not happen to me. The next day, you stay in bed scrolling through your social media feeds and wondering why everyone else seems to be achieving so much. Then you hear about Life on Nyx, which is NYX, a program that offers the chance to move to another planet and start a new, meaningful way of life. There is a caveat: if you go, you can never come back. So yeah, that's it just sounded great and amazing, and I just was like, yes, I'm going to gobble this up immediately. So also just like this cover again, what is up with covers? Just beautiful. And yeah, turns out I lied. I bought 4 books from the White Crow, not 3. And the third one is this one, which is called Balzac and the Little Chinese Seamstress by Dai Siji. And this is a book which is translated, and essentially it is set in 1971, during the Cultural Revolution. There is Mao, and there are these like, what are they called? Re-education camps. So there are these little boys who are sent there, and they become friends with the local tailor's daughter, and they find these books, and these books kind of transform their lives. I don't know what exactly happens post that, but it is a shortish book, and I don't really want to know too much about it or read too much into it, but yeah, I've heard really good things. Amy Tan, who is an author that I absolutely love, has said really good things about this one. So yeah, it just seemed really interesting, and that's it. The next book is a book that I also just like had on my wish list for a long period of time, and I was just like, please tell me when the price goes down, because I need to buy this immediately. It just sounds so good. And it is this one, which is called The Appeal by Janice Hallett. And this book is essentially like a murder mystery of sorts, like, but told through like mixed media and emails. Essentially, it's like, it starts off with like this private investigator or like a lawyer or something like that, and he has a bunch of college students who've come over, and it's essentially like he just put like this whole bunch of like emails and like text messages, etc., etc., of this crime that has happened, and he's like, hey, why don't you solve this? And essentially like that's the first page, like the thing which says like, hey, They're both, as discussed, like, just like read it, I guess. I mean, like, yeah, it just says like whatever, and then you just see all the emails and everything, and you are trying to also like figure out what happened with this murder, while like, so it's basically like you are solving the murder, but also I think in the end they kind of tell you what happened. But I just think that sounds like absolutely amazing. I've always wanted to do this, so yeah, I'm just like really interested. It says 1 murder, 5 suspects. Can you uncover the truth? Maybe I can, maybe I can't, I don't know, but I'm just gonna put it to the test. I'm very excited about this one. So yeah, so that's The Appeal. The next book, I swear to God, as soon as I got to know that this book existed, I was like, I need this immediately. And that is this one, which is Triflers Need Not Apply. And like, first of all, this cover, right? Like, just this cover, amazing. But this is about one of the first women serial killers. This is based on a true story of Belle Gunness, who was a murderess who went on a murderous rampage that started in Chicago in 1900. And it's basically about, it says early in life, Bella Sronson discovers the world is made only for men. They own everything: jobs, property, wives. But Bella understands that what few others do. When women are concerned, men are weak. So it's sort of like maybe like a Black Widow-esque sort of thing. I don't really want to know too much else. I just want to see what she does and how she kills men. That's all I want to know. That's all I want to know. Oh my god. But yeah, it's a little thick one. But I'm just really excited to read this one. And then the last book that I bought, which is the most expensive one, which was for $6.99, is this one, which is Amrita by, I don't know, can you see it here? Yeah, Amrita by Banana Yoshimoto. And this is a book that is translated from Japanese to English, and I've heard really good things about the author. And just the premise of this book just sounded so interesting, and then also it was like just highly recommended by Virat and Vivek. And basically it says a celebrated actress who died in a mysterious and shocking circumstance leaves behind an unconventional extended family that includes an older sister, a woman in her 20s. Through the whole story unfolds a younger brother who possesses mystical powers, and a fiance who is writing a novel with uncanny parallels to his own story. That's it. That's all I know, but it just sounded really amazing. Just extremely great what's it called, ratings online as well. So yeah, those were the 40 odd books that I got. Here you go, pan the books. If there are any books from this that you think I need to read immediately, please do let me know. I would love to like review them or whatever for you. I do of course have a shit ton of plans, but I will try to read these books for you if you really want me to. And tell me if there are any of these books that you have read that you have loved, not loved, whatever, or any books that you plan to read because of this. And that's pretty much it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. As always, you are amazing. I hope you are doing great, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.